themselves as a phenomenon, probably closely resemble in their origins. There's some late 19th century mass housing, which we might talk about. But in the modern phenomenon, I would like to date them from the experience of the Levittowns of the U.S. cities of the post-war period. Large mass housing schemes provided for returning soldiers. The census, and what's interesting about the Levittown, which resembles the townhouse complexes, is that it has a modular form. It's the same house being reproduced over a large landscape. Cheap, affordable, good quality house, but it's not yet a townhouse. It's not yet a townhouse. Why? Because it's an individual residence, even though it's identical to all the houses on the road. It's not yet a townhouse because free relationship is between yours and the municipality. So again, it's a classical relationship of citizenship. I think that the townhouse phenomenon, or this particular property regime, which we in South Africa call sectional title, which in the US is called condominium and has other names in other countries, is a novelty within a capitalist or private relationship of private ownership. The important point here, and I want to reassess it, it's a form of, within the regime of private ownership, it's a form of instantiating a certain kind of community. You own your property communally at the same time as you own it privately. So again, there's huge investment in the body corporate, precisely because the body corporate is responsible for the collective management of a state. If the body corporate is performing badly, and this is where you'll get all sorts of interesting stories about the East Rand. East Rand body corporates cannot govern themselves and therefore cannot retain, and this is the key point, retain the value of the unit. Because there's a clear relationship between the ability to govern a body corporate and the value of its asset. A well-governed, well-managed body corporate is also a healthy and valuable estate. Now, this is what is astonishing in South Africa, and this is what is especially astonishing in Roodepoort. The centrality of communal governance to the value of your property relationship means that questions of non-racialism or questions of social mixing are not just nice in terms of whether people are getting on, but they actually have consequence for the ability of the value of your key asset, and in most cases your house is your key asset, to retain its value. There has been a huge movement over the Witwatersrand of hundreds of thousands of similarly aged black kids, similar age, also lots of single women, young white or single woman, young black single woman, who are appreciating the safety offered by these estates, pouring over the Witwatersrand. Some of them are children of people that entered the middle classes in an earlier period of class mobility from the 1980s. So they're the children of teachers, nurses, and people that got corporate jobs from the late 1970s and 1980s. So they haven't come directly from Soweto or from the East Rand or from the East Rand townships. They've often come from neighbouring white suburbs. But they've moved into the complexes too, on a massive scale. And what's interesting about it, initially when we started the work, it was very clear that this was a temporary staging. They moved into the complexes because they were affordable. They are relatively cheap. They are very good value for money for anyone looking for a place. They really are a good value for money. They were staging posts, a sense of, while they moved to places which were more desirable. So the imaginary was not of Roodepoort amongst black residents. It was very much of moving to other sites. What we're seeing here is these estates are the staging grounds of becoming middle class. They allow you to become middle class in a very, very material sense. What these estates are affording, therefore, is for young black professionals an ability to renegotiate their relationship to their extended families and to the communities. Not to cut themselves off, but certainly to buy themselves both the physical distance and the mediating role of a wall or a gate to renegotiate that relationship so that they can actually become middle class in cultural terms, that they can start acquiring the assets of or consuming in a way in which we think of as middle class. It is in that context that the particular regime, which is the body corporate, is so important, because it's precisely the anonymous appeal to rules and regulations, which are often draconianly enforced. It is precisely that allows these diverse social changes or social mutations to happen in a way and in an environment that allows it to happen, that does not interrupt or violently interrupt those processes. People are not seeking out participation in the body corporates, but what they are doing is that they are agreeing nonetheless to be subject to its rules and its regulations. And I think it's that appeal, that desire for subjection, ironically enough, which is one of the key emerging trends of post-apartheid South Africa, that you have increasing numbers of people in response to a sense of chaos, of unruliness outside of these corporates, are seeking places of order, seeking places of law, which allow them to renegotiate their relationship to their pasts. Thank you very much.